Part 2 of my story of dating a married couple with 4 kids that ended up abandoning me. So I'm also gonna oil my hair because, like I said, this has completely devastated me and I lost a lot of hair and moved across the country. So yeah, cool. Our second date, I ended up going to their house. And you know, it was super fun, chill. We were just hanging out, ate some soup. And then they were like, you wanna watch a movie? I was like, sure. So we end up going to lay down and, you know, like we're just hanging out, okay? But, you know, maybe holding hands or whatnot. Just kind of your typical like first date movie type interactions. Anyway, at one point I'm like, you know what, I have to go home. My dog, you know, needs to be let out and whatnot. And again, another red flag that whatever. They were like, we don't want you to leave. And Brian was like, I'll drive you home. We can go get her. And I was like, it's a 40-minute drive. And Tori was like, no, seriously, he will. And I was like, okay. So we did. And I ended up breaking my no sleepover rule. I slept there. And we really, I think, fell for each other that night. So yeah, but that's just like the beginning of the story. Fast forward, like I said, we moved in together. Their kids are 100% involved in my life. I'm involved in their life. And yeah, they moved out and said, peace. And now, yeah, just no contact. But so fast forward, in the morning I go home, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. We want to see you again. And I was having all of those same feelings. Like, I had a great night. I had a great time. We all got along so well. And honestly, Tori and I were like best friends immediately. And you know how it feels when you meet a new best friend. I wanted to be with her all the time too. But yeah, so that's kind of how everything started. The next time I went back to their house was probably just a few days later, and we were hanging out, and then all of a sudden their kids got dropped off unexpectedly. So obviously they were going to be home at some point, but they were with grandparents, but there was some family drama going on. Turns out there's a lot of family trauma in both sides of the family. So I probably dodged a bullet there, but anyway, the 2 youngest kids. So there were 4 kids total. A 14-year-old that eventually turned 15, a 10-year-old that eventually turned 11, and then the 2 youngest girls were 6 and 8. So the 6 and 8-year-old got dropped off. I'm just gonna call them the Littles, okay? I'm not even gonna give them a pseudonym. So the Littles got dropped off. They were pretty much always together also. It's like, okay, you know, whatever, we're chill. And they're like, hey, Emily, do you wanna get ice cream with us? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So we did that. And I love kids. I'm really good with kids, and we all, I think, fell in love. Like, me, the kids, the girls, Margot. So my dog was also in the mix. After the girls met us, they were like, we want to watch her while you work. So a lot of the days, I left Margot at their house while I was working because the girls were homeschooled by Tori. So Brian and I would go to work. Margot would be with Tori and the Littles. And so after work, I had to go back. You know, that's where my dog was. And after work, you know, there was dinner and an invitation to, I don't know, do something, anything. And the Littles got really attached to me and my dog, like really quickly. Me and my dog got attached to the Littles. Just as much as Brian, Tori, and I were, you know, like growing a relationship. I'm pretty sure less than a week in, Tori told me that she loved me, and almost also encouraged Brian to tell me he loved me too, because she could tell. And I was in a vulnerable state, right? Like, I had just gotten out of a 6-year relationship with no real love. It was a good friendship. And anyone who knows my relationship knows that that's actually the case. Him and I are still good friends, but I was desperate to just be like wanted and to be loved. So the amount of energy and time and all of that this entire family was pouring into me was happening at a time where I needed it, but not like this, not like this, not like this. But yeah, that's kind of gonna be, I think, part 2. I guess I'll tell you about the rest of the kids quick. So the big sister, that's what I'm gonna call her too. The big sister was from Tori's first like relationship. So Brian actually adopted the big sister. And then Brian had one boy before Tori and him were together. So they had 4 total. But the boy lived down in Baraboo with his mom most of the time. So in the summer, it was like every other week. During the school year, it was a lot harder. It was every other weekend. So yes, they were in Wittenberg. I was in Stevens Point, and the boy was in Baraboo. So that's also kind of part of some of the next part of the story.